Good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World tonight. Right now, the Thai authority is monitoring the number of new infection cases. If the figure remains under 10 each day, it's highly likely that the government may announce second phase of easing restriction. And what's the implication on security issue in Thailand of COVID-19 if easing restriction in second phase finally happen? In the Thai PBS World tonight, Khun Thep Chaiyong and me talk to Dr. Panithan Wattanayakon, Chairman of Prime Minister's Security Advisory Committee. And Ajahn Panithan, any points of concern for you in particular during this easing of restriction after the first round and the second phase probably is coming?
Yes, there are a few concerns, of course. Number one, I think the feeling of safe and secure could be misleading for the people. You see the number of cases down into the single digit, as Khun Thepachai mentioned. But you notice that it began to rise in the last few days from almost zero cases. And now you can see 6 cases, 7 cases, 8 cases in the last few days. Particularly the concentration is in the south, on the tourist town and border towns. So I think false perception could be one of the main concerns as people are now resuming their activities. You see many reports on restaurants do not follow the procedures, different offices do not follow the procedures. The police and the healthcare people are now putting together a rapid unit, mobile unit to give suggestions to the people to follow a strict guideline.
On the larger scale, do you foresee the possibility of some of the stringent shutdown measures being reintroduced if the situation gets out of hand? Say there are suddenly a surge in the number of new infection cases.
Well, I think we are on a, of course, downward trend. It's very lucky for Thailand. And of course, thanks to the Thai people, I think they have been very much able to cooperate among each other, among different agencies. But this downward trend may go up, as you can see in our neighboring countries. I think Malaysia is now extending their measures for the 5th time until June, until early June. I think that's an indicator in certain different countries in South Korea and in other places. Of course, you have places like New Zealand are now stepping down to the level 3, I think, the 2 more levels from the highest alert. But in Thailand, we have to wait and see. We have to evaluate every day as we go in the next few days. The National Security Council Secretary General already indicated yesterday that it might be possible for more lifting of the strict measures, including the emergency decree. But this is not determined yet. It depends very largely in the next few days, really.
Dr. Panithan, you talk about the daily evaluation of the result of the easing of the shutdown measures, right? And now we have been in second week of the easing of the restrictions. So out of 10, how much do you think that we have achieved?
Well, the survey is still going on. I'm sure Khun Thepachai, Khun Natha have completed a survey already of the center. If you are not completing, I urge you to complete that survey. I think the evaluation will be more completed with participation from the public. But of course, I think the satisfactory level is quite high in terms of cooperation. I think the authority is quite certain that they can handle the situation. The level of satisfactory from the public is also high for the administration's handling. I think we are moving into the second phase. I think much better in shape, and form than many expected. But of course, this can turn very, as warned today by the government persons, this can turn very drastically, change into a very significant, serious problem. So you have to be very careful and exercise cautious. It's very common sense คุณณัฐฐาครับคุณเทพชัยครับ You go out more, you have more contacts. The virus is still around. It's very true that the virus is very honest. They will not pick and choose anyone. They will get infected. So the virus is still out there, and we don't know much about this virus. I think the impacts, the consequences, the way they're spreading, we learn almost every day. The scientists learn almost every day. So you have to be very careful in this period. But at least life needs to return to normal. That's indeed, it is true. I think shutting down completely affect enormous economic and society. We don't know how very many actually have a serious impact until we completed the survey. But estimate is very serious to the society. So you cannot lock down and shut down like this anymore. You need to move on.
อาจารย์ปณิธาน with the right now we are, as you mentioned, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we have to start planning for exit strategy. And what do you see contact tracing, the use of contact tracing, because people may be suspicious whether it will intervene between privacy, their personal privacy and security? That's the same old issue. What do you think the authority should try to communicate with Thai people?
Well, of course, I think you need to have a good balance. In the beginning, of course, in the first phase, you need to control the spreading of the disease, of the virus. I think security must come first, and then maybe freedom may be put into second. But it has to go together, actually, in the second period, hand in hand. And this is not surprising that we have two important now laws effectively. One is, of course, cybersecurity, protecting infrastructure, protecting the security of the use, on online. And at the end of the month, as you know, we have a data privacy protection law will be in place on the 27th of this month. That will give a good balance and to ensure young generation that their privacy will be protected. But this has to be, of course, a common ground for two different groups of people who are concerned differently to meet and to work together. We are expecting that in the next few weeks, the debate on how to achieve a good balance between security and privacy, between freedom and security, will return, to the society, and it will be a very hot debate in this period.